population. So population, Jansankhya, we are going to talk about this. Before we go ahead, this is the population of India in 2017. The next census is going to be held in 2021. Last one happened on 2011. So what is the population we have? That is the count of the people in our country. And this is 133.92. So around 140 crores we are. And by 2045, because we are here, and the way we have increased from 1960 to this 2017, and this is the idea of 210, how much we were. And after some time, maybe in 2040-45, it is possible that we are going to overcome China. This China is having the highest population of people in all over world. So population, first of all, people. We are talking about population, that means we are talking about people. Men, women, kids, everyone. So people make and use resources. So people are the main, because if you see anything, it is of no use, like a rock. A rock is there, but say a coal is a rock until it is being actually used by some technology and make it as a resource. And this who does it? Human beings does it. People do it. So the disaster also, say tsunami becomes a disaster only when it is affected, or it affects the people, normal people, right? So they are also considered as resources having different quality. That means there are different resources we talked about, but human is also a resource. Human is the main resource. That is why we are talking about population. So population, that is the total number, that is all the count of, say, all the counts of the people, number of persons inhabiting a particular place. It can be city, it can be state, it can be a country. So this is the central element in the social studies. Whenever we talk about some social studies, whether the government has to make some decision, whether the other people who are the institutions, they want to know about what facilities they can give, or whatever is going on, it all depends on the number of population. So it is the point of reference from which all other elements are observed. So population is a kind of spectacles, right? The specs you wear. So population is the specs anybody will wear to see the world, to see the country, to see the state. So human beings, they are producers. They produce also, and they are consumers also of all the resources. So the information or the idea about population of a country, like the size of the population, the distribution, these are very important. So what is the size? Size means, say, if this is one state, let me take you to the state now. Now here we have Uttar Pradesh, and we have around 20 crore people here. So this is a region where high density of population is there. So we say the size of the population is quite high. And the Rajasthan is the biggest state in India, right? But the distribution of the population is less as compared to Uttar Pradesh. And if you see Jammu and Kashmir or these northeast area, especially you come to Mizoram, there are very less people. So they are distributed unevenly, right? And here some places, say Delhi is the hub, or you can say Union Territory. So everyone is there. So the distribution is quite you can say the ghanatva, the density is quite high. We'll talk about all this in great detail. So census, there is a word which is going to come whenever we talk about population, and this is called census. So what is this census? Census is, see, if I go to some house and I just see men, women, some kid, so I'll say you are 4 people. But when the government does that, when the government is involved, so it's an official. Census is an official enumeration. Enumeration means counting of the population, that is the number of people, it can be anybody, done periodically. So this is done periodically, and in India it is done in 10 years. So let me give you some idea about that census. So as I said, it's an official enumeration or counting of people, and it has to be done periodically, then we call it as a census. So we started with, in India started the counting from 1872, but until 1881, the first census was complete. So we call it as 1881. So this 1881, after that, every 10th year, that is, we said that it has to be periodically. So after the 1881, every 10 years, census, government does that, right? And it is just not counting of the people. It's about knowing the demography of the people, like where they live, the social and economic data, the religious data, to the number of men, the number of women, the number of kids, the data in terms of their ages, the data in terms of their occupation. So census is not just counting. It's a whole lot of, it's a very enormous procedure. That's why the first, which actually started in 1872, until say 9 years it took to be completed. And since everything started from 1881, then we have 10 years. So you can see that next was 1891. Likewise, now we are in 2019. So next is going to be 2021. So this is going to be census in 2021. So what does this census provide us? As I said, that first of all, it gives the information about the people, the population of the country. That is, there are certain questions this census is able to answer, because census is all about getting ankde, all about getting the data. So the first thing is population size and the distribution. As I just said, we'll talk about this in the detail, but just to have an idea what is the size of a particular region, or what is the size or how it is being distributed. Say some places, this is the region. Some place you will find a lot of population. Sometimes some place the population is less, but still the addition of these will be total population, but the distribution is like this. Then the population growth and the process of population change. How does this population change? And the characteristics or the qualities of the population. That is, we will talk about this. I'm just taking it right now. So first is size and the distribution. So what do we mean when we say size and the distribution? See, as per March 2001, as I just shown you that what is the present scenario, but as of March 2001, Indian population was 1028 million. 1 million is a lakh. 1 million is 10 lakh. 1 million is 10 lakh. So you can understand that 1024 billion, which was 16.7% in 2001, 16.7% of the world population. And as we know that our area is only 2.4%, means Indian region is only 2.4% of the all world, right? So going ahead, this is the population in 2001, 1028 million. Apart from this, the most populous state, as I just mentioned you here, it's Uttar Pradesh. It was Uttar Pradesh, still it is. Uttar Pradesh is the highest populated state of India country, and the size of the population of UP is 166 million. As I said, I'm going to give you the latest numbers here, maybe in the next coming discussion. So which accounts for 16% of the Indian population. So if Indian population is 100, 16% of population is from Uttar Pradesh, UP. Sikkim population is only, at that time, 2001, was just 5 lakhs. Just 5 lakhs. And if you go to Lakshadweep, it was just 60,000. It was just 60,000. And if you talk about today's, means 2019-20, then the population has not increased. It has just gone up to 64,000 of these places. So there is a distribution. There is a different distribution, and this is the size, as I just showed you that how the places like this Sikkim, means Uttar Pradesh is highly populated. And when we come to the area called this northeast, actually Mizoram is also having a very, very less population. And then you come to Sikkim, and it's very less. This is the Sikkim. Gangtok is the capital. Then see, most of the state, that is Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, then Maharashtra, West Bengal, and Andhra Pradesh. This Andhra Pradesh, let me take you there. So this is, see, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal, Bihar, and Uttar Pradesh. Why I am taking the names of these 5 states? Because most of the population, Indian population, resides here. Around 50% you can say, because the actual idea is 48.8%. But just to say that half of the population lives in these 5 states. So this is the pie chart we just discussed. This is the rest of the world. So we account, and from, the data is of 2001. So we account for 16.7% of the world population. This is the rest of the world. And when we talk about area, as I said, that it is just 2.4%. We have the area, only 2.4% of the world area. And I'll come to population density, then I'll tell you one more very interesting thing. And this has to be discussed, First, see, around 51.2 this percent is from different state, but around 50%, this is exactly if you talk 48.8. So these all are these 5 states. Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Bihar, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh, most of the population of India resides in these regions, these states of India country. So India's population distribution by density. What is the density? Density means the population density we are talking about is calculated as the number of person per unit area. So number of person per unit area, what does this mean? This means that if you have an area, say 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer. So you take any area here, say here or here, any place, 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer area. So how many people are living here? Say 200. So the population density of this area is 200. If I take you, say, to 10 kilometer by 10 kilometer, 10 kilometer by 10 kilometer, and say we have 200 is the population, then you have to divide this by the area. That is number of person per unit area, right? So let me make it 2000. So 2000. So this is, what is the area? 10 into 10. So you have to make it 1. You have to make it 1. Then only this is the unit area, and that is called population density. So when you have 2000, so divided by 10, that is 100. 20 is the population density. Here you have population density as 200. So this is having a higher population density as compared to this place, right? Because we have computed for 10 by 10, and when we come to 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer, this is our actual population density, and this is coming to be 20. So the population density of India in the year 2001 was 324 person per square kilometer. That means I take all of the country, I take 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer, and people who are living in 2001 were 324. So we are quite densely populated country. We are quite densely populated, and density vary from different place to different place. Like in West Bengal, this area, if this you come here, then these are 904. There are 904 person per square kilometer. That is 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer. How many people are living? 904. And if you come to the Arunachal Pradesh, let me take you to this place, both places, and they are quite near. This is West Bengal, 904 people per square kilometer people are living. And if you go to the other place, which is the Arunachal Pradesh, this Arunachal Pradesh is having just 13 people in 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer. That is only 13 kilometer. If you go 1 kilometer length and 1 kilometer width, that is you travel around, you will see only 13 people inside. So the reason for the scarcity, that is why there are only 13% population, or 13% or 13 people in the density of Arunachal Pradesh has, the main reason is the resources, the conditions. So if you have a very good condition here, so we have all the, Ganges plain and all these. This is a very ubjau zameen, means it's a very good land to live, and even the jalwayu or the climate is also good. So the reason for scarce, that is thinly distributed population in these states like the Meghalaya, like the Orissa, this is because they are rugged terrain. Means the terrain is not like this, but maybe like this. How a person can live here? Still the people live, but they are less. So we have rugged terrain, and the climatic conditions are quite harsh, especially in the mountain, the monsoon, and in the colder or the winter season. The places like these are very difficult to live in. If you see Ladakh and Jammu Kashmir, the population is even less. So because of the climate, there are certain conditions which are not favorable for human beings to live there. That is why we find most of the population in these 5 states, because there are resources, there are people, and there are the climatic conditions that are suiting them. So hilly, dissected, rocky nature of the terrain, the moderate to low rainfall, that is the rainfall may be less, the terrain is undulated, a lot of mountains out there or rocky mountains, and shallow and less fertile soils, that is the land which is not very fertile, not very ubjau, so people can't cultivate. So these are all the influences or the factor why the population in Assam and most of the peninsular states, we have less people living there. So the northern plains and Kerala, like this plain I'm talking about, see, we talked about few places like this is Uttar Pradesh, and we talked about West Bengal, and we talked about Bihar. So all these are in the same, say, this belt. So the northern plains and this Kerala, in the south, they have a very high population density. That is, the people living in 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer area are quite high. Why? Because they have a flat plain and the soil is quite fertile, abundant rainfall, like the rain is coming in a quite acceptable amount, that is in centimeter or millimeter. Then the most important thing apart from this is the climate. The climate is good for a human being to live. So one thing I would like to, as I said, one interesting thing is only Bangladesh and Japan, these are the 2 countries who are having more population densities that we have. India is, you can say, on the 3rd number as far as the population density is concerned. So you will be having a question why China is not having, because China has the region, that is the area of China is quite you can say it's elaborate, so the density becomes quite less. So this is the 2001 idea which is there. So at that time, this color means 500 and above. That means this Kerala and West Bengal, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, these are all the areas where per square kilometer 500 and plus people are living. When we come to the second region, that is this area, it is this one, this area. Assam is also having good population. That is around 250 to 500 people are living per square kilometer. Even coming below that, then we see 100 to 250. So this is the region. This one. So these are the region where we have 100 to say 250 people. The density is like this, and it's very scarce. People are living less. In which places? Jammu and Kashmir, Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram, and Sikkim. So this Mizoram and Jammu and Kashmir. And now coming to 2019, this is the latest map of India. So the population is around 140 crores, as we just said, and the population of Uttar Pradesh is around 20 crores. And then we have different population like Maharashtra, because the region is quite high, it's around 11, this is around 20 crores, they have around 11 crores, Bihar has 10 crores. Then if you see, Kerala is, the region or the area of Kerala is quite less, but still it's around you can say 3.5 or less, just less than 3.5 crores, and this is quite a number when the region is in mind. And as I said, there are only 60,000 people in Lakshadweep at that time, but now we have just 64,000. So this Andaman Nicobar is having high number, around, say, this number is quite in lakhs, so it's around, you can say 4 lakhs around. So this is how the present status is. Rajasthan is having around 7 crores, Gujarat is having 6 crores. And if you take the place of Jammu Kashmir, because the place is because the conditions, climatic conditions, all other things taken into account, it's just 1.2 crores, not more than that. Coming to population growth, this is a very important thing. That population growth is what? This refers to the change in the number of inhabitants of a country or territory during a specific period of time, say during last 10 years. So population growth means the population increment or population decrement. So the change, that is how much population or people have changed, we can express them in 2 ways. First is we can find it in absolute numbers, and I'm writing it, and then in terms of the percentage change per year. So what is the absolute number? How do we find out the absolute number? We just find out by subtracting the earlier population by the later population. So say in 2001 the population is, I'm just taking an example, it is 100. And in 1991 it was, say, 80. So we subtracted 100 minus 80, that is 20. So this is the absolute population growth. This is how we find out. And this is the absolute increase. 20 is the absolute number of population growth. And then we talk about the rate of population. And this is rate of population is found out or estimated in percent per annum, means for 1 year. Percentage per annum, that is percentage per year. That is the rate of growth, or say rate of increase of 2% per annum, means that in a given year there was an increase of 2% for every 100 persons in a base population. So if I have say here 200 population, right? Say in 2018, right? Then we come to 2019. So the population became 204. The population became 204. So what is the number? What is the number? Say this is 204 and this is 200. So 204 minus 204 by 200. What is this? 4 by 200. That is 4 by 200, but this is 200. So 4 by 200 and just multiply it by 100. So what do we get? It is 2% increase. So 2004, this you can take any number. This make it be 2004, or it can be so any number. I'll just find it once more to let you understand that how do we find out the population growth or annual growth rate. Say in 2018 the population was say 500, and 2019 the population became 700. So what will be the change, or what will be the population growth in terms of percentage per annum? It will be 700 minus 500 by this 500 initial into 100. So this will be 200 by 500 into 100. So it will be 5 4 is 20. It is 40% increase, right? It is 40% increase per annum. I hope now you can compute it also. So India's population has been steadily increasing from 361 million in 1951 to 1028 million in 2001. This we already saw. Since 1981, the rate of growth started declining. Now this is the question which is being asked. Why from 1981 the population's rate of growth, which we talked about these two way of computing it, so started declining gradually as birth rate declined rapidly. But India has a very large population, so when a low annual rate is applied to a very large population, it still yields, or it still gives a large absolute increase. So now the question is, why in 1981 the rate of growth it declined? Why? Because the people, say men and women, they would create say 5 children, 8 children, say 10, 12 children. By 1981, the government came into action and they started family planning. They started giving pressure or thrust to the family planning, that is the Parivar Niyojan. So now the parents, now they were creating 2 or 3 kids. Do bacche hi achhe. So all these slogans were there. So now the amount of or the number of kids which were taking birth, it decreased. So there were only 2 or 3 kids. Right now also we are having it. Only 2 or 3 kids were taking birth, and also they were all taking all kind of actions like Nasbandi, Copperty, and every contraceptive things were the government were promoting it. That is why in 1981 the rate of growth actually decreased. Now let me take you to this. This is the magnitude and the rate of India's population. As we said that 1951 it was 361 million, and in 2001 we have 1028 million. 1 million is how much? It's 10 lakh. So this is the annual growth rate. That is, I told you already how to compute it. It's 1.25 in 1951 and it is 1.93 in 2001. This is the annual growth rate, and because India is having so much of population, this doesn't change. This is almost same. I'll take you to one more graph, which is the bar graph here, and this is the India's population and population growth rates during 1951 to 2001. If you see that it is increasing, and by 1981 it is decreasing. It is decreasing in 1981, and this is because of the reason I told you. But still the population, the bars are already taking place, so these are already increasing. Processes of population change or growth. How does this happen? How does the population change or growth take place? So there are three main processes of change in population. First is the birth rate, second is the death rate, and third is the migration. So birth rate is what? Birth rate is number of live births per 1,000 persons in an year. So say there are per 1,000 there are 20 births or 200 births or 2,500 births. So all these numbers are the birth rates. Always remember the rate is with respect to something. So this number is with respect to per 1,000. Similarly, the death rate. First, let me complete this birth rate. The birth rate has always been higher than the death rates in India. The second thing is the death rate. So this is the number of deaths. This is the birth. Now number of death per 1,000. So per 1,000, how many deaths are there? Say 100. So 100 per 1,000. 100 per 1,000 is the death rate. So in India there is a rapid decline in this death rate. Why? I'll just come to that. The main cause of growth of the Indian population. Why? See, when the death rate, people who are dying or who dies, they are less. Say we have 100 population and there are say 20 births per 100. Let me take it 1,000 so that you understand the birth rate also. Now there are 20 people or 20 kids who are born per 1,000, that is 20 is the birth rate. And then there are previously, say at some year 2001. So the death rate was say 80. So per 1,000, 80 dies. But in 2011, it becomes say 20 again. So this has decremented. So now the death rate is how much? Is 20. But you see, 20 are born and only 20 have died. So ultimately, the content remains same. If it would have been 80, then 20 are alive now, that is, they have taken birth, and 80 have died. So there is a check or control of the population. But because of various reasons, I will discuss this reason, till 1980, high birth rates and declining death rates resulted in higher rate of population. If the birth rate, this is high, means the kids are growing, they are taking birth, and death rate is less. Death rate is less, then the population will be higher, as I suggested here. Population will be higher because people or the kids are getting more, the live births are there, but the dying people are less. So there will be always increase in the population, or population growth will be higher. Since 1981, as we suggested earlier also, the birth rate it has started gradually declining, resulting in the gradual decline in the rate of population growth. Why? Because of various parivar niyojan or family planning things being, you can say, promoted by the government. So migration is another thing, which first is this one, birth rate, death rate, and then migration. So what does this migration means? Migration is simply moving of a person, say, from one place to another. This is migration. So it can be inside the boundary, say a person from, say, Madhya Pradesh, he migrates to Delhi, New Delhi. So he is crossing or moving across the region and territories. So this can be internal, as you see, a person from here to here, that is inside India, this is internal, this is within the country. But if a person from here, Madhya Pradesh, say he or she goes to, say, China, now this guy or this person is to be reduced from the population because he has actually migrated. So this is between country. Internal migration, it does not change the size of population. Why? Because the person is here in India, say here, and he has gone here. So the population of Indian region doesn't change. But when he goes from here, that is Madhya Pradesh, to China, the China has an increment of 1. That is one population, one person has increased. But India has a decrement of 1. That is, one person has decreased. But there is one more thing. The internal population does not change the size of the population, but it just does change the distribution of population within the nation. That is, if, say, many people from Madhya Pradesh, they start going to Delhi in search of job, then the population distribution or population density of Delhi will increase. But the population density or the distribution of Madhya Pradesh will decrease. So there is change in the distribution. In India, most migrations are from the rural area to the urban area. From where to where? Rural area to urban area. Now, what is the reason? What is the reason why people are going from rural area to the urban areas? There are certain things. First of all, we have in rural area, we have poverty. We have poverty. Then we have unemployment. So in rural areas, poverty and unemployment is there. But when they move to urban areas where they get more facilities, they get employment first of all, and also they have employment opportunities along with the better living. The poverty will, I'm not saying that they will become rich or richer, but they will be able to earn their livelihood. So they will be not poor, but they will be self-sufficient, you can say. And they will get the employment also. Along with this, urban areas, urban cities are those, they provide better living conditions in the city. So what are the effects of migration? See, there are two words, emigration and immigration. I'll just come to this. But before that, I'll tell you about the effects of migration. What happens? First of all, this is a region, or let us come here. Say a person is, or people are going from one place to another. Again, we'll take the same example. That is from Madhya Pradesh to Delhi. Now, it changes the population size. Delhi will have more population now. Madhya Pradesh will have less population. And it also changes the population composition of urban and rural areas. So say a person from the rural area of Madhya Pradesh, say Rewa, or any place you can take. He is going from here to Delhi. Now, the rural population will be now -1 if a person goes, and the urban population will grow 1. So this will be +1. So in terms of age, sex, etc., because say men are moving. Mostly we have seen that from rural region to the urban region, mostly men move. And men move in search of work, and their kids and their wives and their parents stay in the rural area. Mostly we have seen. So it changes altogether the population composition. Then in India, this rural urban migration, this has resulted in the steady increase of the urban population, because most of the rural area people, they tend to go to the urban areas in search of a good job, in search of better living condition, etc. So there is an increase of this population in urban region. So let me take you to this graph. This is age composition. This is we are going to talk about this just now. Just to let you know that we have adults in India as 59% around. The aged people, that is the people who are already plus 59 years, they are around 7%, and children are around 35 or 34%. Now I was telling about emigration and immigration. So we have, say, two countries, C1, this C1 and C2. So when somebody enters your country, then you can say he has, or somebody comes to your country, then it has one kind of this immigration. So when somebody is coming, that is, he has emigrated. When he goes from your country, then he has immigrated. This is immigrated, immigration, R-A-T-I-O-N, and this is emigration. There is a difference in this E and I. Somebody comes to you, come to your country, that is emigration. Somebody goes out of your country, that is immigration. So we are talking about the age composition, this age composition. So let me tell you one more thing before I go to this age composition, that the urban population has increased from 17.29% of the total population. This was in 1951. Now, in 2001, the urban population in India has increased to 27.78%. And there is one more thing, that in just 10 years, from 1991 to 2001, this is just 10 years, the number of the cities, 23 cities, that is a million plus. 1 million means 10 lakhs, okay? 10 lakhs. So the cities which were there having 10 lakhs of people were 23. In 2001 in India, the cities with 10 lakh people living were 35 in just 10 years. So you can see the population migration, population explosion. Now coming to age composition. Now what will be your age? Your age may be around 14-15 years. So you come in which category? That is, there is an age composition. Your father comes in which category? Your grandpa comes in which category? Maybe you might be having some of your younger sibling, so he might be coming in some age composition. So the age composition of a population means the number of people in different age groups in a country. So let me divide the age group like this. See, these are adults. So who are adults? These are around 58.7%. Aged 7%. Around children, this is 34.4%. So the number of percentage of population found within the children, working age and age. So we have children first. Children, then we have the working age. Let me write it as working age, WA, and then we have the senior citizen or age. So population of a country can be grouped into these three categories. That is children, which are below 15 years. So 0 to 15 years, these are children. And they are economically unproductive because they need to be provided food, they need to be provided clothing, education, medical care. Who does that? Either the guardian or the parents for children, because they are not well grown enough to actually start working. Now they comprise of, we are talking about 2001, right? So 34.4% of India's population 2001 are children. Coming to the working age, and this is the age between 15 to 59 years, and they are economically productive and also biologically productive. That means they are making money, they are doing some job, and they're also working for the country, because everyone works for themselves, but eventually it is for the country. So actually they are working age or working population. They are able to work because they are now grown up and now they can work. So this comprises of 6.9 of total India's population. Again, talking about 2001, right? This is not the present number. Now, third is the age. We also call them as senior citizens. They are economically productive. They can be, but they are retired. So they are retired because they can't get a job in government if they even want to. So they may be working. They may be working, but they cannot be recruited. So these are the people, or these are the persons which are above 59 years. So you might have seen that above 59 people get, or at 60 central government people or the government people, they retire. So this comprises of 58.7% of total India's population. Sex ratio. Now, sex ratio is again a very important aspect. Sex ratio is what? Number of females per 1,000 males. If you have, say, 1,000 males, and there are in 1,000 males there are 900, say, female. So sex ratio is a ratio. So 900 females per 1,000 male. This ratio is the sex ratio. You can also call it as the gender ratio. So the importance is what? This is measuring the equality of men and women. See, 900,000, that means 100 females are less. This is what shows the idea of society. In India, sex ratio has always remained unfavorable to females, and that's a kind of issue, especially in this Haryana, Rajasthan region, and some parts of this region, Uttar Pradesh, etc. This is always a case. So census year with sex ratio, let me show you it. See, 1951, the sex ratio females per 1,000 males were 946, and in 2001 it has decreased, 933 it has decreased, and this is an alarming situation. Just think about a layman. Everyone has to get married. So how about these 77 men? They will not be getting married to anybody because there are less women. I'll tell you about the education, how education helps. Kerala is the most educated state in our country. Kerala has a sex ratio of 1058. That is, the women are higher than the males. Women are higher than the males. Pondicherry, again coming to the southern region, we have 1001 females for every 1000 males. Again, this is a very good condition. This is an ideal condition in Pondicherry. But when we go to Delhi, it's just 821 females for 1,000 males. In Haryana, even this, Delhi is having a very bad scene right now, but Haryana is also not very far. It's 861. So what about this 140, males? This is so showing that there is an urge or an inclination towards the men or having a boy child, and that is not acceptable. Coming to literacy rates. Literacy rates means education, basically education. So according to the census of 2001, a person who is 7 plus, any person who is 7 and plus years of age, and he or she can read and write any language. This is very important. Any language. It can be any language. So this guy will be treated as a literate person. And this low levels of literacy is really an obstacle for economic improvement. If you see Kerala, as I said, it is the best, it is the ideal state as far as education is concerned. And then you see what happens when the education is good. You see that this is a very prosperous state, Kerala. Now, this is one more thing. Literacy rate in the country, 2001, as I said, 68.84. I'm talking about census of 2001. 68.84% was the literacy rate, and among this, 75.26 were males and 53.67% were females. So this is again very less, very less. If you go to Dehradun, Dehradun is the capital of Uttarakhand. They have 90% of literacy rate. If you could go to Kerala, it may go up to, touching 100%. Occupational structure. Now, every human being has to do some job. He may do business, he may do government job, he may do something else, he may be an artist. So this occupational structure, the distribution of population according to different types of work they do, different types of occupations somebody does it, is referred to as the occupational structure. It's called as occupational structure. So we can again define or divide the occupational classification we can do in three categories. First is the primary activities. Then we have secondary activities. Then we have tertiary activities. Primary activities, secondary activities, and third is tertiary activities. So primary activity includes what? It includes what? It includes agriculture. It includes, say, animal husbandry. It includes forestry. It includes fishing. It includes mining, quarrying, etc. Coming to the secondary activities, see, these are mainly agriculture and agriculture type activities. When it comes to secondary activities, it may be manufacturing something, so manufacturing industries, building, construction work, so like this. And when we come to tertiary activity, see, this tertiary activity is mainly supporting these two. So it is actually supporting these two. So it can be transportation, it can be communications, it can be commerce, it can be administration, and there are other services. So the developed nations have high proportion of the secondary and tertiary activities. Developed nation like Europe, like Canada, like US, they have more people in secondary activity and tertiary activities. When we come to developing country like India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, so most of the people, they are involved in the primary activities. So when we come to numbers, in India, about 64% of the population is engaged in agriculture. 13% are dependent on the secondary activity, and 20% are in the tertiary sector, so tertiary activities they are doing. But in the recent time, people are moving towards the secondary and tertiary activity or sectors because of growing industrialization. We have industrialization in our country, industrialization and then urbanization. So urbanization and industrialization in recent times. Coming to health. Health is very important. Now, just remember, if you are not well, will you be able to study? If you are not well, will you be able to talk to someone or play? No. A healthy mind and healthy body is necessary for anybody to do any kind of work. So health is an important component of population composition, which affects the process of development. So there has been a significant improvement in health condition in India, because the reason which we see in death rates, people were dying, but because of the good health conditions now, health facilities, in 1951, 20 means the death rate were 25%. That is 25, not percent. I'm sorry, 25 per thousand. But now, if you see it, if you go to some say 2001, it is 8.1 per thousand. And this life expectancy is also enhanced or increased. Life expectancy means for how long a person is going to live. So in 1951, it was assumed that a person is not going to live more than 37 years. To be more precise, it is 36.7 years. But by the time 2001 came, it was 64.6. Let us make it 65. So a person is going to live for almost 65 years, everyone. Why is this improvement? Why is this number increasing? The improvement is because of the health, public health. Public health means government is doing things in health, and prevention of the infectious disease. All the diseases like the influenza and very smaller, which we think today as very petty or smaller kind of, diseases. But now they have all gone. Why? Because of the better health condition. And now the modern medical practices, diagnosis can be done. The treatment is very good. We have different kind of treatments, machines, equipments for different types of ailments. So health is still a major concern of India. In India, see, the kids, when they are born, they are given immunization. Immunization is given to them. So maybe chicken pox, smallpox, syphilitis, and polio, all these are given when a child is in this world. So this is how the improvement of health has taken place. The per capita calorie, the food we take is actually producing calorie. So the per capita calorie consumption or the food consumption is much below the recommended levels, and malnutrition is still there in the large population of our population, because we have a large population. So this health is still a major concern for India. Second thing comes, mostly diseases are waterborne. So safe drinking water, basic sanitation, people do the sanitation or they excrete in the open. So the basic sanitation amenities, they are available only to the 1/3 of the rural population. So this is a concern. Coming to the adolescent population, adolescents are whom? From 10 year, if you are 10 year, you are in between 10 to 19 year. So if you are in between this, or you are growing child, this age group are considered as adolescent population. So it constitute 1/5 of the total population of India. The most important the future resource, because these people, they are going to be the future of the nation. So they are the most important future resource of any country. So nutrition requirement, food requirement, calorie requirement for the adolescents is higher than any child or any adult. So it is higher for these adolescent people. So in India, the diet available to this adolescent is not very adequate. They are not getting all nutrients. So large number of girls, especially because they have menstruation. Adolescent girl, they don't get proper because the blood goes out. So they are anemic. They are suffering from hemoglobin deficiency. That is deficiency of red blood cells or hemoglobin. So this is a kind of concern for our country. But this, if you literate people, that is, if you spread the literacy, education is there for the adolescent girl, and the government does it and everyone does it, there can be a stop to all these problems. Now, NPP is very important, National Population Policy. So government has a proper policy for population. So Government of India, it has initiated comprehensive family planning. Family planning means Parivar Niyojan program in 1952. And it started in 1952, way back, for improving individual health and welfare. So it sought to promote the responsible and planned parenthood. That means not having so many kids, just having few kids whom you can do parenting properly on a voluntary basis. So NPP, that is National Population Policy 2000, it is the peak of years of planned efforts. So what is the aim? What is the idea? What is the objective of this National Population Policy? This is a question being asked normally. So first of all, it provides policy framework for imparting free and compulsory education or school education up to 14 years of age. Now we know this by the name right to education. Reducing infant mortality rate to below 30 per 1,000. So it should not increase more than 30. More than 30, the people are, we say, the infant are kids. So they must not die. More than 30 is not acceptable to NPP policy. Also immunization, as I was discussing, universal immunization of all the probable diseases which can affect a child. So there has to be infant level vaccination of all the preventable diseases. And then delaying the marriage of girls. Previously, girls were just married in the age of 13, 14 when their menstruation starts. So this was the kind of things which generally people thought. But now the idea is that a girl should read and write, that is, she must be educated, and then after some time she may get married. Also, the making family welfare a people-centered program. Only government can't do it. Everyone has to take part. So what is the relationship between this NPP 2000? As we just said, it has certain objectives, and the adolescents, that is the people between, or the persons having the age between 10 and 90. So this NPP 2000, it identified the adolescents as one of the major sections, one of the major workforce or major, say, basement of the population that need greater attention. Everyone understands that. So besides the food they want, the nutritional requirement they want, there has to be a greater emphasis and greater consideration on other important needs of adolescents, because at this time they are, the hormones are changing. They may get involved in love and then sex. So after that, the women may get unwanted pregnancy, and even if they are not doing it properly, it may cause sexually transmitted diseases. They are not using any protection. So programs starting, or the NPP 2000 for adolescents, the programs that were started were encouraging delayed marriage and childbearing. A young kid who is already a kid, and if she gets married and she carries a child, you can understand, a child bearing a child. That is how the marriage has to be delayed. And also, if at all they are having sex, or they are, getting into this sexual involvement, then it should be protected. That is, protected sex is the concern of NPP 2000. Also, even if somebody gets pregnant, then there has to be contraceptive services available everywhere, accessible and affordable. This is not a stigma. This is the natural process of the world. People, they get married, they create babies. So this is what is natural thing. It is not a stigma. So everyone has to understand that. Providing food supplements, nutritional services for these people, adolescents. And then to prevent child marriage, there has to be strong legal actions. So before I go ahead, let me tell you that this chapter has few things which we want to revise. That only Bangladesh and Japan, they have more population density than India. Kerala has a sex ratio of 1058 females per 1000 males. Pondicherry 1001, 1001 per 1000 males. Delhi only 821. Haryana only 861. So before I just conclude, there are certain things. This is the census report of 2011. We have been talking about 2001. Let us understand 2011 also. The population was around 120 crores. Males were 62 crores, with females 58 crores. The total literacy rate, total was 74. So it has increased from 2001. Because it was 64.4 at that time. Males are now 82% males are educated. Females are 64.46% educated. The density of population is 382, that is 1 kilometer, 1 by 1 kilometer. 382 people are living. This is of 2011. The sex ratio is 940 females per 1000. We have to make it as 1000. Child sex ratio per 1000 males is 914 females. So again, we have to increase the number of females. We have to have strict laws, and people mentality has to be changed.